This episode is brought to you by HP. Whenever you do your best thinking, the HP Spectre X360 is ready when inspiration strikes. With power save for battery life and focus mode to multitask, you can do your best thinking whenever and wherever it happens. The HP Spectre X360 2-in-1 convertible PC with Windows 10 saves battery life for whenever an idea hits you. HP Spectre X360, a more thoughtful laptop.
This episode is brought to you by Disney+. Disney+, Hulu, ESPN+, stream all your favorites with the Disney Bundle. Disney+ has Loki and Luca. On Hulu, watch originals like American Horror Story and 9 Perfect Strangers. And ESPN+ has every match of Spain's thrilling La Liga. Get the Disney Bundle today for only $13.99. Includes Hulu ad-supported plan. Access content from each service separately. Terms apply. See thedisneybundle.com for details.
Welcome to Western Contours Podcast, sharing experiences, providing insight, and looking for solutions to become better hunters. We talk gear, on and off season preparation, tips and tactics, conservation, and finding inspiration in the outdoors as sportsmen and women. Thank you for joining us as we share our love for all things Western hunting. We're now. That's what I keep telling her.
I will probably fare better.
Yeah.
Just as far as like adjustment from California, like
You'll fit it on the front range. You'll fit in very well.
Yeah.
There's lots of jobs that pay well. The environment's good. Housing prices are going up, but I mean they're nowhere near what you're dealing with right now.
I've been trying to sell her for 3 years now.
Come stay with us in Estes. Spend some time. Go hit the front range. Go down to Denver. Do some shopping. Go go drive around Estes.
Yeah.
We'll show him elk. We'll show you elk. You can go do the shopping with her.
okay.
The key is I think she needs to go do her thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because whenever she's with me, we're doing my thing. And that's one of the, I didn't say you mind.
I go with the flow. I'm easy to please.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, it's just like Allie. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think you guys would have a great time just going and hanging out together.
Yeah.
And I keep telling him we need to go somewhere and spend some time there and see if we like it. It all looks good on paper. Exactly. And you can find a beautiful house on the internet. Yeah. But you get there and you don't know what to expect. Yeah. What if I hate it? Yeah. What if he hates it? Yeah.
I just want to live by elk.
Yeah.
That's my prereq, man. That's it. I've been saying that for years. I just put me somewhere where I can say, hey, I'm on the way home. I'm gonna go glass this spot, and I'm looking at bulls. That's it.
I've only got 4 B and C bulls that are hanging out around my house.
That's crazy, dude. It's insane to see some of that stuff.
That's bullshit.
Uh-huh.
I
He
was
knows.
there.
Oh,
I know he knows that, but he's envious.
Yeah. Oh, big time. So, I mean, I gotta preface this, right, saying that no, you're fine. That's why we're doing it live. This is long overdue. Wait, I mean, just the handshakes and hugs were long overdue. So I'm sitting. Well, Allie's running away, but we're sitting with Lauren and Allie Schrag, Mr. and Mrs. Goodbull. So it's pretty freaking awesome to finally look you in the eyes, man.
In the flesh, man.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Amazing.
It's been 3 years now. We've been talking online and
Yeah,
just,
growing and learning, and well, you grow faster than anybody I know, but
it's slowed down a lot for us lately. But I don't know if you saw one of our posts recently. We figured out that Instagram put a sensitive filter on.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I flipped mine over, and I noticed it too because I wasn't seeing the amount of hunting content you would think I would see based on what the algorithm should be reading from me.
Yeah.
Even my views on your photography wasn't there. I would literally have to go and see something where I'd see a post and like, how did I miss that? And then look, and that was peculiar. 5 days old, and I'm finally seeing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck's going on?
I mean, I can see where a 400-inch bullet would be sensitive content for somebody who's gone 0 for
There's a finger going up. Yeah, well, that's I will say I have a standard, right? My standard partially kept me from it last year, and the wind did the other partial. I'm a great hunter. I'm a bad killer.
I killed 2 bulls back-to-back years, and then the third year I raised my standard, and I regret doing it.
No, that's
I don't know if you know this, but elk meat is actually good.
Yeah. Lauren came up with jokes today. Oh.
We have to buy it.
Yeah. Oh, the wife got jokes too. Hey, I'm gonna keep chasing. You're gonna keep spending.
I know you get venison in the freezer though.
Oh, I got
buck you got last fall.
Yeah, I got plenty of venison.
And you're not chasing the velvet bucks in A-zone this year?
No.
Oh man.
Opted out. You know what? And it was me being more cognizant of my time before September in regards to my wife. That was the majority of it. And last year the heat was just. The heat and the pigs killed that hunt, right? I mean, we saw 2 bucks in 3 weeks last season, whereas we would go in years prior and we would see bachelor groups of 8 to 12 every single outing, and it's just a matter of getting on them in that open country.
Yeah.
And we were seeing 30, 40 pigs in a glassing session. I think in that 3-week period, we had something like 200 to 250 pigs cross our glass.
Well, I think bacon tastes pretty good too.
And
I've actually killed my dad's killed some hogs down there in Southern California. He was stationed at
you told me that.
Vandenberg.
Right.
So he's brought a few of the hogs home and they taste good.
The problem that we have when you're chasing those bucks in that country is going after the pigs with archery equipment. If you go through the wrong draw or drainage, you blow your bucks out. And sitting there in 110, 115 degrees, you just wiped away that entire weekend, right? That's a weekend warrior trips for us.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we're up Friday, we get there, Friday midnight to 2 a.m. and then leave Sunday. What I usually get home Sunday 4 or 5. So we're leaving like midday. Beat. So yeah, there's everybody goes, well, why didn't you just kill pig? It's not worth that tag. And then when you see that monster you've been chasing for 4 years bound away because you want to switch focus and get on a pig, you're done.
Hurts.
And you can shoot a pig at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, your hunt's done. At 100 degrees, you got to get it out of there.
Yeah.
Right? And ice doesn't last. And I don't care what cooler you're running. That little Yeti will, in 115 degrees, only holds ice for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make
too
sense.
Hot at that point, and you basically have to leave and get it home.
Oh, you're done. You're running. But anywho, we got venison in the freezer. Hopefully the elk will. We'll see, man. I don't need them to cooperate. I need me to cooperate. And you know what? A lot of that's been, and I don't care. We're talking about it. Is not knowing them, right? And realizing the problem is not sticking to what I know. So, prime example is the bull that we saw when you were there. And instead of just spot and stalk, I wanted to start calling. So I had her start raking. There's a problem in that. That bull had no idea that we were there. The wind was in our favor. I could have went in on that bull, right? So there's these errors that are made in naivety, right? Because of, and I'm not blaming anyone, but because of all the information that's out there, we tend to forget about what we know and go after what we're being told. So the thing that we're strong in doesn't even get used. Yeah. I'm strong in playing the wind and spot and stalk. It's what I've always done. I haven't done that since I've been hunting elk. Why the hell not?
Honestly, I think one of the most overlooked strategies nowadays is simply putting yourself in the right position, especially if the herd is moving. Get in front of them and wait for them to move into a lane.
Mm-hmm.
It's an overlooked strategy, frankly, that is way more effective, and everybody's gotten used to. The World Elk Calling Championship just completed here either today or yesterday. I can't remember.
I think it's today.
Yeah. And that's what people have kind of gotten used to, and it's exciting to call a bull.
Oh man!
The last bull I killed with the bow, I called him into 3 yards. I was using a small tree for cover, a small Douglas fir. And when I finally called him in and he committed, he came right at me and he stuck his head in the tree that I was hiding behind and bugled at me. We're talking like 3 yards. I mean, the distance we are right now.
That's crazy.
That's how close he was. And he started getting nervous. He actually backed up to about 20 yards. And, like pro tip, whenever you're calling a bull in, a lot of times they're going to want to check wind. So make sure you've got a shooting lane before they can get to where your wind's going.
Mm-hmm.
And this one did that. He actually backed up, went to about 20 yards. He was trying to cut my wind. Cow called at him when he hit my shooting lane, and he stopped and just zipped a broadhead right through him.
That's another pro tip, right? Is utilizing those cow calls to get them to stop. And I don't know what it is, but I've seen it, on YouTube, and guys aren't even attempting to stop them, right? We're shooting on the move. We're decreasing that odd of success. And we're also increasing the likelihood of having a bad shot, or in my case, a day and a half of tracking to a carcass, with everything stripped of it. It's an interesting pursuit, man.
So that particular bull, he actually took a step forward right when I shot. So I ended up actually punching liver in one lung, and he ended up running about 200 yards. And the way he went, I got really close to where he was at, and he died right away. But it took me 8 hours to find him. And what happened was he found a depression with some new growth trees in front of him and a cliff on the other side of him.
Lay down in
So
it.
I kept passing by within 20 yards of him, and I couldn't see him. And then finally, after about 8 hours, I actually literally left, got my dad, brought my dad back in there, and had two of us looking in the area trying to find him. And then finally, I was like ready to give up after like 8 hours, and I know this bull is here. And this was before having OnX on my phone where I could like watch my track and see if there were any areas that I was missing. But I literally look over my shoulder to say something to him, and I see a tine sticking out. And that's when we finally found him. And we got lucky. We didn't lose any of the meat on him, but it was, we looked, imagine spending 8 hours within a 50 square yard area. We knew he was there.
Well, that's like, my Wyoming tracking job. I would say we were in, it was probably larger than that, right? But we were, call it 100 square yards. And just back, we had pools of blood, and it's like dropping on both sides. You could see where he stood. You could see where he laid. And that is just, man, 2 hours after your stomach is turning and you're just almost sick. 8 hours is brutal.
Yeah.
Try and sleep that night, having to go back. Oh, dude.
Yeah, it was getting dark, which is the only reason I was considering stopping.
That's
I was going
rough.
to be back at it again first thing in the morning. But my dad drove out like 3 hours, to where I was at to come help me look for this thing.
Ugh.
And we were both scouring the mountainside for a long, long time. But we found it, and it's actually a Euro mount that we've got over our stairs right now. So,
Heck yeah.
nice 5x, big 5x5 bull.
So we're talking elk. What do you got going this year?
OTC this year. Last year we burned the points in Colorado, and literally burned our points. We had a tag for a limited entry unit, and both the Cameron Peak Fire and the East Troublesome Fire burned into our unit this year, or last year rather, and they closed down the unit until we had a couple days to hunt before it burned into the area. And then it started burning into the area, and then we had to switch from where we were at because the stream that we were relying on for the elk to be around, the stream dried up. All the elk, we had several 350 bulls in the area, and they all moved out because the water source dried up.
How did the smoke affect those couple days?
The smoke was pretty bad. There were particles like coming down out of the sky, and it burned to breathe. But honestly, so long as there was water, there were elk. The problem was the new place that I located was when the muzzleloaders were hunting during archery season in Colorado, which pushed the elk out of this area. So had we started hunting there, we would have been fine, but we didn't know what we didn't know as
right.
the water drying up. So
That's a rough one.
It definitely bad luck.
Yeah, that whole deal last year was it was almost freakish. We didn't have any fires near us. That wind turned and started pushing south when that storm came out of Wyoming, and I want to say it was 2 days of smoke. The guys always correct me on it, whatever it was. Dude, that smoke come in and hit us, and it was unbelievable. We couldn't even move through it. It was so thick.
Yeah, we actually had ash coming down on us while we were hunting.
Yeah, it was rough. That kind of was the turn of ours. So we were in elk just about every day up until that point, and then what was it? That lasted for 2 days, and then it dumped on us. We got something like 15 inches over a couple days, and just couldn't pull it back together.
But this year we're going to be OTC. We have a place that's really good on opening weekend, but unfortunately, opening weekend, I've got to be down in Houston for the NRA show. So that one kind of sucks, but we'll have to find a new unit. Usually after that, we go up to 18, but 18 burned in the East Troublesome fire this year. So we're back to scouting mode for Colorado. Yeah. That seems to be our, our SOP is, trying to find a new place and scouting it.
Well, we were talking, but prior, I think I'm going to blow out that draw tag and just exchange it, for that unit. So let me know.
Yeah.
Come down and spend a couple days with your bow, man.
We'd love to come down there.
Yeah. That area is beautiful. It's not a hard hunt until you get, deep in that valley, but it's a beautiful area. There's bulls everywhere.
Try to call a bull in for you.
Just can't kill them.
If I can't, she can.
They do not talk. It's everything that it should not be in elk season.
So by they don't talk, you mean they don't bugle?
They don't. Yeah, they'll rake. They'll rake a SOB.
Rake. The calves will still mew.
No, has it been 2 or 3 seasons in that unit? 2 seasons. I've heard calf talk once. That was the year my son was there, and we missed that bull. The cows he was with. That's the only time. Cows will be right up on us. No chirps, nothing. Unreal. I mean, just dead silent. It was like the scenario last year. We sit down for lunch. I just bugle tube pops out. I keep in that little holder. And what the heck? Grab the reed, bugle, right? And I swear to this day that lead cow, when she figured out, something's wrong, after he bugled, that was it. It was like she told him, "Hey, shut up. What are you doing?" Unbelievable. I mean, just totally quiet. And it's funny because we'll either get there the night before season opens or the day before season opens, and they're just talking like crazy. They're bugling. Last year was unreal. I mean, there's a growler down the hill from us, and he's just going off. Opening morning, from then on, I think the guy that talked back to me and 2 others in 23 days on that mountain. So
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like the draw units, because they will talk more.
Mm-hmm.
That's also another reason why I like hunting the edge of public. So if you get right up on some of those bigger areas of private land and hunt the boundaries, so, depending if you do your research with with Onyx or Base Map or whatever you're using, you can find areas where they want to be up on the national forest, and the only reason they're not is because of private. But they're still going to go back and forth. So they're going to hang out at nighttime, and then they'll make their way back down onto private, during the day and hang out and relax. But you'll still find them crossing, and if you can find those crossings, a lot of times you can find bulls and get in on them.
I think that's what's going on in that unit we're in, because there's that travel corridor, man, and it's busy every morning. And it's just a matter, there's 5 benches, and it's just a matter of picking the right bench on any given morning, and you're in them. It's interesting.
Have you studied escape routes on them as well?
I think what's happening, I know what happened is, like last year, I got held up on that area I'm seeing them, and I didn't go any further southeast. I should have went further southeast. So this year, if I end up there, that's the plan, is just to go directly to where I think they're going. And there is private on the end of that. That has to be their day haunt. There's no way it isn't, because it's in line with everything they're doing.
Yeah, I know oftentimes it's a good strategy to hunt with 2 people instead of team calling. If they're not talking at all, put one person on an escape route, and have the other person push into where they're at and try to get a shot. And if they don't get one, then when they move, then hopefully the other person's on the right escape route and gets a shot on them then.
It's just flipping a coin on those benches. I mean, what do we got into, 3 or 4 situations? That was the coolest, man, to have her there and to get in them and to have her see them. But to see the light come on, you want to talk about, right? I mean, non-hunter has never been in the woods with me, except hunting. That's what we're talking about. But to see the light come on and go, wow, I'm slightly intrigued here, was pretty freaking cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I mean, when you get face to face with a 500-pound animal,
it's something else.
Yeah.
It's
especially when you get one that's talking too. You get a bull that's screaming at you from 3 feet away with, wide bloodshot eyes and snot coming out of its nose.
I can't wait.
It's intimidating. I mean, I still remember the first time I called a bull in. I called him in from about 300 yards away, and he was on one side of a bull, I was on the other side, and I didn't know he was there. I just let out a bugle, and I got an instant reply. And so I went ahead and dropped down into the bowl, and this guy was so hot, he had actually gone past me by the time I bugled the second time.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So I bugled, he bugled immediately, and he started coming right back at me again.
Oh, he was ready.
And I found an opening in this dark timber in this bowl, and it was maybe about 30 yards long. And I'm actually kneeling down on my knees at one side, and I shoot right-handed, so I had the opening off to my left, knowing that I could draw it this way. And he went ahead, and I could see the antlers just like start to come up through the, as the elevation changes.
Yeah.
And you just see the antlers start coming up like this. And I mean, just your heart rate is just pounding in your ears. And I'm sitting there just wondering when I should be drawing. And he steps up, and he finally gets his head behind a tree, and he's getting ready to step out in the open. So I go ahead and draw and come in full draw, and he stops with his vitals completely covered up by the tree that his head was just behind when I drew. And I waited and waited and waited. I think I probably held about a minute 20. And just as I let down, because he looked the other direction, just as soon as I let down, he
steps out.
Of the opening. Every time.
Yeah. There's something about them. It's like the luck of nature. I don't know what to call it. That sounds stupid as all get up, but they have the luck of whatever it is riding on that rump every minute, dude. It is something else. It's like we had the one last year where we're hunting that cliff, and the wind is just always just whipping over the edge of that cliff. So we're skirting the edge, and we're working the timber, skirting the edge, and boom, we got somebody, right? He wants to come play. We were just raking. And we're watching this new growth aspen just spread as he's coming through. You could just see him coming through, and it's like, can't see him. He's almost there, right? Stand up, get ready. And it's going to be about a 25, 30-yard frontal. And as soon as that last started to break, I just felt that wind hit the back. I kid you not. We hunt that area. We hunted 3 or 4 days last year, and then 2 days the year prior. I swear to you, the wind, I never felt the wind switch. That moment when he was about to break through, that wind turned on us. And then when he was gone, I looked at my buddy, and we just started giggling, like two schoolgirls giggling, right? And as soon as it was like done, quiet, he's gone, where do you think the wind was going? It's back in our face. And it was like, dude, this makes no sense.
Yep.
And all you could do in those scenarios is laugh. It's just
this other bull. It was a small 6x6, and so as soon as he stepped out, of course, I just let down off a full draw. I'm literally on the knees with the bow between my knees. I'm, still ready to go, ready to draw. And he's standing over me 20 yards away, maybe 15 yards away, standing over me, staring at me, wondering what I am. I'm fully camoed, but I'm watching my broadhead, right? And it's going like this with every heartbeat. just bouncing up and down about an inch with every heartbeat.
See, I'm a breather. Like the respirations is what gets me on it, because I'll be.
So I've been in this situation before. I figured, okay, this is the time he's going to whirl and he's going to run. Okay, I'm resigned to the fact that yet again I got close, but I didn't seal the deal. And for whatever reason, he's like, okay, I got to find that other bull. And he turns his head and he starts continuing to walk. And at 8 yards, I spun at full draw. I had to turn almost completely around because he was walking around behind me. Spun almost completely around, and he stops broadside at 8 yards.
Jesus.
And just center punches him.
Heck yeah.
I actually watched him fall.
Heck yeah. I'm hoping I can't wait. I just can't wait to just grab the freaking antlers, man. It is like, oh my, I'm like sick to my stomach sometimes thinking about it. The other day she goes, that sounded horrible. And we were talking about it. I go, I just want to kill a bull, and she goes, that sounded horrible.
We need to take bets on whether or not he's going to start crying when he gets
oh no, I'm going to cry. But we're not. You don't want. You're going to lose that bet. I'm going to cry. I'm going to just say it right now. I will be in tears. Man, I worked my butt off. I've worked my butt off for it. But
for sure it's gonna have
oh my God, you want to talk about a kick in the.
Well, it sounded like to me that with the description you gave me that it was actually a legal bull.
Dude, when you read, it says 4 points on one side or brown tines of 5 inches or greater.
A brow tine of 5 inches or greater.
He was forked.
Okay. We got to check and see what it describes as a brow tine. Is it the first point? Or is it on the lower half of the beam?
Yeah, I think it does say lower half of the
Does it say
beam. I
lower
think
half?
it's specific to it. You know what? Do I have the book? I think I have the book in the bin behind the thing. He was a stud, dude. I mean, mass was like this. He was so white and just humped up. It's an age class thing, right?
Yeah.
That was in my head, that was a shooter bull, but it wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's an interpretation thing. And the guy could have not liked how I smelled after 20 some odd days in the woods and said, no, buddy, you shouldn't have done this.
I mean, honestly, it comes to a point where you have to say, is it worth it? And most of the time, if it's questionable, it's just not
worth it. It's not worth me losing my privilege.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I value the pursuit too much to lose it because I'm desperate to put my hand on some elk bone. It's just not worth it. It'll never be worth that, right? And that haunts you in multiple states. Just for guys that question it, it haunts you everywhere now, right? Because it's across the board. If it happens in one state, I believe we're up to 36 or 37 states where it's going to affect your hunting privilege there.
I believe they're actually up to 48 states in the compact now. Yep, I think there's only 2 states that aren't in the wildlife violation compact.
Huh. Well, and that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
It is. It really is a good thing.
You can still hunt exotics and do it. You can still do a lot of other hunting, but
Right.
it's not the same as.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care what privilege is left. It's not worth the ability to drive to Colorado, purchase a tag, and drop in the elk woods for 10 days, 2 weeks, a week, whatever it is. It just ain't worth it. I would rather have 10 missed bulls than not have the opportunity at one because of a stupid decision or a decision that I wasn't clear on.
Yeah.
It just wasn't worth it. She goes, what do you mean you couldn't shoot it? Like, she didn't understand it.
I don't know the rules. So.
Well, and I'm sure she really wanted to be there to see your excitement about it as well. I mean,
it would have been amazing, but
then after hearing all the technicalities of it, and I was like, no, I'm glad you didn't settle. Even if you could shoot it, just for his first one, just to be big and awesome.
well, no, that would have been that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's a forked bull. That was a bull of a lifetime. I'll never see a bull with that many years on him being all weird like that. Yeah, that was a bull of a lifetime. He wasn't.
He's probably a 12-year-old bull from the sound.
I would say minimum. I would be shocked just even when I relive it, right? Thinking about how he looked, how he walked. I would be shocked that bull made it through last year. I mean, that's where he was at, right? And he was by himself. Well, qualified. There was a cow and a calf. So he was just herding up with whoever he could. That's where he was at in his life.
Yeah, he couldn't fight anybody off.
No, and when I was moving around trying to get a lane on him, and the cow saw me, she booked it, and he didn't. He just did his little meander away and gave me another opportunity, and it was just like, God, I got to watch him walk away, dude. I tell you what, we were probably 50 to 60 yards when I saw him through the window, and all I saw was about a foot of antler. And to look through and see the mass and understand the mass that I was looking at through that window, and then that window was like, oh, and I told her, I think I said it, this is it. This is it.
Breathing changed.
Yeah, I had to calm myself down, dude. I saw that mass, and I was like, holy.
And I'm just in the corner, like, I don't want to move.
Yeah.
I don't want to screw this
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
I'm like, you got a rake, and she's like, I'm like, no, shoot,
Make noise.
Oh, he responded to that. Rake is.
Oh, I love that.
It is a beautiful thing. I mean, he just beelined. He heard that rake. He didn't turn and look. He beelined and just straight down in line with her. And like, what is raking over there? Who is over here? It was amazing and heartbreaking and everything that hunting is, all in one 15-minute experience.
Good, bad, the ugly.
I think we walked out of the woods after that. I think I was like, all right, it's just time to go to camp right now.
You get that adrenaline dump after you're done.
Well, it wasn't about that. It was just like the Elkwoods hate me. That's all I could say. Huh? I said it like, I was like, the fucking Elkwoods hate me. It hates me. Like, what are the chances of this? This thing beelines in after 20 days on the mountain, and he's a freaking forked bull. kill. Like, it doesn't even make sense. And the funny part is I had given Freddie Lopez, Game Changer Freddie, I had given him a bunch of crap because he kept posting pictures with forked bulls. And I'm like, where do forked bulls happen? And he's like, oh, dude, I was razzing him so bad for 3 months. And then the bull that I draw down on is a forked bull. I was like, wow.
You know what they say about karma?
Oh, dude, she's a relentless, oh, man. So I got a question. I don't know what, and I don't think I've ever asked it of you. I know where the hunting started. When did the camera come into play?
You know, I've been messing around with the camera since high school. My dad had an old Canon AE1 film camera. And so I actually started playing around with black and white film. And, you know, I was chasing elk up in Montana with this, camera during the calving season, and got some pictures of some elk calves and some bulls where I later got, my shot at the only 7x7 I've ever gotten a shot at. I chased that damn bull for 4 years. Got a shot at him once. It was a 50-yard shot, and I mean, it was a perfect scenario. It's actually kind of an interesting story. So this was the third year that I'd been chasing him. The first year that I found him, he fought with another bull, and he snapped off the 8th point on another bull, and I actually found that 8th point. And I got a shot at that bull. I actually put an arrow in that bull. But I was using New Archery Products Thunderhead. And the blade actually stuck. When I shot, his front leg was back, and it caught the bone, and the blade actually stuck in the bone.
Oh, dang.
So it was right in front of the heart, but it caught the leg bone, and he actually just kicked the arrow out and ran off, and I ended up not getting that bull. But the big one that he was with was that 7x7 that I kept chasing, and I finally got a shot at him 3 years later. He and his 15 cows were bedded down in a group of cattle, like Black Angus. And I happened to have a black shirt on underneath my camo. So believe it or not, I took my camo shirt off.
Heck yeah, good thinking.
And with my bow, I started going along, and when they started noticing the movement, I started mooing at the elk. And I managed to close the distance from about 90 yards down to 50 yards, mooing at them with a black shirt on. You do what you got to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I was in shade, he was in shade, but there was like this big patch of light in between us. And I knew I couldn't cross that, otherwise it'd really make me out. So when he turned broadside finally, I came to full draw and took a shot at him, and the arrow's going perfect. And then the fletching hits that beam of sunlight in between. And I literally watch his chest as he whirls out of the way, the arrow just passing by his chest as he whirls out of the way. I've never seen an elk twirl out of the way like a whitetail. And this is the only bull I've ever seen do this. Normally they drop about 6 inches and lurch forward. This bull actually whirled out of the way of the arrow. I've never seen it before, never seen it again. But this damn 7x7 that I've been chasing for 3 years, he did it. And then finally, the fourth year, the last year I got a chance at this bull, he had 60 cows with him. And I got between him and his cows. Perfect opportunity. He was raking on a tree. I was in the dark timber, and I got between him and 60 cows. And I waited and waited and waited. I was there for 2 hours. And the cows had all bedded down. He was over by this tree just gently raking. There weren't any satellites around. Wind was perfect. And I was waiting. I had a shooting lane between him and the cows. And he was going to get up, and he was going to go over to where the cows were at, and I was going to get my shot. And I waited and waited and waited, had the perfect spot. Lead cow gets up from being bedded, walks over towards him into my shooting lane, and cow calls at him. And he stops raking, and he looks over at her. And he goes back to raking again. And she cow calls louder and more insistently. And he stops raking, and he looks over at her. And this is early rut, mind you. You know, none of the cows are coming into Astra. He looks over at her, looks back at the tree, looks at her, walks off the other direction.
You have nothing for me. That's crazy.
You've got nothing for me. He literally walked off the other direction, left his 60 cows alone. He's like, there's not a satellite here that can take me. I'll deal with you girls later.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some S because you razzed me. So it sounds like you are in the elk and can't kill them. I'm just not really in the elk and can't kill them.
well, this was in Montana, in places where I had killed bulls back-to-back years. One year a 6x6, then a 5x5, and I had other bulls like the 7x7 that were monsters that I was chasing. But since I've moved to Colorado, I've had a lot harder time finding the new units because of the amount of hunting pressure.
Right.
Montana, it's a lot different. You go to a trailhead, sometimes you're the only person there. Here in Colorado, you go to a trailhead, and sometimes I've had 15 campers in the same trailhead area. It's like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm just not used to it. So I haven't found that area that other people haven't found, except for the draw units.
Right.
Which I've gotten into elk in the draw units, but like I said before, I got messed up this last year with fires and drought.
Yeah, that was an interesting year, man. What's funny is you say that, all the campers, that unit that I've been hunting, and one of the things I noticed on that first mile, when you come off of that divide road, that first mile is loaded with guys, and there's no thought process as to where we're plopping a camp, right? And that was one of the things I noticed hunting that area. I don't want to give too much of it away, but there's a travel corridor. Guys are putting camps like in the middle of where these elk are traveling, and they're just disrupting. And it's like, guys, look around you. Like, before you can't just plop anywhere, right? Look around you and figure out what's going on before you plop. They disrupted. They were there for 3 or 4 days. They disrupted those elk for a good week on us. And as soon as they were gone, 2 days later, they were back to their movement pattern. And I don't know what made me think of that. I just want to say it. Like, you have to pay attention where you're setting up the base camp. Oh, right? Yeah. All that matters. If you think you're in there. Yeah. I mean, even lighting that fire, and that was another thing, is we weren't supposed to have fires last year, and guys were lighting fires. And it's like, dude, you're up on the top of the slope. You know that they were hunting down here, or you're hunting down there. What do you think? They're going to smell all that and just hang out? I don't know. Anywho, I digress. I was just curious, man, where the camera came into play. So were you in the dark room doing that whole thing, developing your own and everything? That's a pretty cool aspect of photography that isn't around anymore with the digital stuff.
Yeah, getting the film, doing the dark room. I actually took a couple of college classes as well. Didn't necessarily learn anything that I didn't already know, but it was interesting to immerse yourself in with other photographers who are, doing film, and they're going into the dark room, and you're cropping using film, and actually developing your own images. And I've still got my portfolio from back in college, and it's kind of interesting to look at, where I was versus where I've gone. And I actually wanted to be a professional wildlife photographer. I had actually started developing a book of slides that were, some of my better images on actual slide film.
I remember it. People are like, "What the hell's that?
Yeah, what the hell is this?"
35 millimeter.
Yeah, you hold it up to the light, and stare at the little tiny image, and it's super crisp. But I actually started a portfolio of that, and I was getting ready to start submitting them. And then the whole digital revolution was happening right as I was graduating college and needing to get new equipment to quote unquote go pro.
Right, keep up with it.
And so here I am, kind of stuck between the film world that's going away and the digital world that's not quite there yet. And so instead of doing that, I end up doing 20 years in information technology. So
what do you see a difference in it? I mean, I love film, right? And I know there's filters and things that you could put on it, but I love looking back. I'll go to Mom's, and she'll have a photo album, and there'll be a couple of those single negatives of that really good picture. For whatever reason, it was that picture they decided to hold on to. And maybe that was the slide things were big back, who knows, in the 70s, 80s. Do you see a difference in the pictures and how you approach the pictures between film and digital?
I think probably the biggest difference is it's kind of like the difference between somebody using an M16 and somebody, who's got a sniper rifle. You don't know what you've got when you're using film. So you've got, say, 32 shots in a film roll. You don't know necessarily how it turned out. You make sure that every shot counts.
Gotcha.
Whereas when you've got digital, I mean, you're taking 20 frames a second.
Right.
With some of these newer cameras. I mean, you're literally taking a couple hundred shots and saying, okay, this is the best one of the group. It's just a completely different mindset. But I think the development has gone from the darkroom to the computer. And I don't think it's actually a bad thing. I think there's some fantastic editing that happens in the on the computer that would be akin to what used to happen in the darkroom. You take somebody like creekbed photography, and you look at, I mean, you can actually pick out people's style. If I see, if I see an image by Jason Loftus or I see an image by, Creekbed, I know it's them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to see the name on it. I can tell just from the editing style that they've done and the camera that they use.
Right.
A Canon camera has a different color profile than a Sony or a Nikon does. And if you've been doing this long enough, you can actually pick out the camera manufacturer that made the image, even with the editing that's been going on in the background.
That's crazy. Yeah, that I won't even try and figure that one out. I have enough time just getting through the menu. Well, I don't know, man. Those mirrorless, the menus on those things they're crazy.
Yeah, but once you get it set up, you don't have to mess with it.
Well, that's exactly what I did. I went through and sat down and just started playing with it and then watching YouTube videos and just trying to find that spot that I want to be in for what I want to do, and that's my goal this year is to actually film the hunts, and that's been hard, man.
Oh, that's real hard. I mean, I know you had Christy out there with you for a little bit to do.
That was all photography stuff, though.
But I filmed a couple. Well, Allie and I have filmed a couple of hunts now. And, we did one a couple of years ago now where. For a show on the Discovery Channel called The Experience, where we got American Sniper, Chris Kyle's brother out there along with some other folks.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, and they haven't aired the show yet. I'm not sure what's going on with the filming end of things, but we had filmed the hunt for them, and they got 4 bulls over a couple of days, and we were just on film and photography, with me doing the video and her doing the stills, and it's really something different. To be able to focus on just doing the camera work and the video work, it's a completely different world because you're immersed in what's going on in the camera rather than what's going on in the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes away a lot from the hunt, which is why I think a lot of people don't self-film hunts, because it takes away from the experience.
Yeah.
You're so focused on trying to get, capture the images in the video that you're not focused on the hunting, and it's real hard to do it. Complete respect for the few folks that can really pull it off.
That do it good. And that's been one of the things that I've, struggled with is because that thing is always in the pack, but it's just like, I ain't kill the bull. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to detract from it, but I really would love to get it. But it's just, you know what I mean? When you weigh it, it's less important to get it on film,
And I think that's why if you tag team it, you can have your caller filming for you,
mm-hmm.
and then they can focus on the camera and the calls, and have the other person focus on the elk and the hunt, and then you swap off back and forth every other day, kind of like, kind of like the Elk 101 guys, Corey and Donnie,
mm-hmm.
And John.
Go back and forth on that's actually a good idea. The problem is finding the guy that can take the time I can take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are back there a little bit. That's
23 days last year.
And you went back?
I went back. Well, it was 23 days total.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 23 days total.
And I mean, kudos to your wife. You're still married.
Yeah. I try and put it in.
Married 23 years?
Yeah. I mean, really, I haven't been always like that. When I've told her,
Yeah.
I told her when our boy stops playing football or he goes to college, it's on. And literally, he stopped playing football that year. It was on.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I miss him when he's gone. It was nice last year because I got to go with him for a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's doing worse things. He's out chasing elk, doing what he loves. So.
Chasing the proper kind of tail.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really nice to have that understanding and, being able to do it. I don't take it for granted, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if we could, Allie'd want to be out there, 23 days with me.
Mm-hmm.
With between her treatments and, and everything else. We still have kids in the house. We've still got, our youngest is going into her junior year this year. So we're getting close to that.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't like to say it. I feel like people judge me because I'm always gloating about being an empty nester. I think I get judged.
You earned that.
Yeah, we've been raising kids half our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is freaking amazing. I don't care. I mean, look at us now, right? We got a dog sitter and we're here and we can, we just roll up and let's go. And you can do that on the drop of a dime. Like,
As long as our dog sitters.
Yeah. Dog sitters available. We're out.
Yep.
It's so nice, man. I mean, we love our kids, but
But like you said, we've been doing it
yeah.
half our lives.
You'll love it.
And I
dude.
mean, part of the fun thing is being able to watch them, having grown up, live their own life.
Yeah, especially when they're on the right path and they're not, a-hole kids. It makes it easier because you're not worried and stressed and, what's going to happen, tomorrow or tonight or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, well, you don't know what I mean, but you will know what I mean. It is something else. I love it. And now we only got about 30 some odd days and then we'll, see if she's looking at me with those eyes. Elk season starts.
Wait, you had to ask?
He keeps track of that stuff.
Oh yeah, it's the 23rd of July.
Okay, so you have a little more.
Just a little bit more.
5 weeks.
That is that's amazing.
God, I can't believe it's 5 weeks out,
dude.
I gotta shoot my bow more.
I'm never in the position I'm in right now, and I'm gonna blame Aerotech. Usually I'm dialed and I'm shooting broadheads. I shoot the Aerotech arrows, and I have to revamp my entire setup. Right, so that means resight my bow in both bows, right? And it's like, oh man, so I'm behind the curve. That bow, that tape, is not even the tape for those arrows.
Okay, so I'm taking a look here. I'm seeing a cutter stabilizer. I'm seeing obviously the Aerotech arrows. We've got a QAD rest.
Yep.
What sight are we running on?
That is the Black Eagle Pro. That sight is awesome.
And a prime bow.
Yes, sir.
Which one is that one?
That one is the Nexus 2. So this is my elk setup. This 80-pound Nexus 2.
Because I know you hate talking about gear, but I brought it up. So
I wanted, after the last couple of years and all the miles, I wanted something a little more compact. I usually like a longer A-to-A, so I went with the 32 A-to-A. And then I built it on weight. I wanted a lighter bow, right? So that was really why I built it that way. But man, I'm loving that thing.
now, how did you get the quiver to sit at an angle like that?
That's how they're designed. So you just angle the bracket that you screw in.
Okay.
Yeah, so it gives you a little bit of that offset.
I kind of like that actually, because
Yeah,
a lot of times if you've got long arrows like I do, because I've got a 30.5-inch draw length, so I've got at least 31-inch arrows to clear the rest. A lot of times they'll be sticking down below, where the cam is, and they'll actually stick down in the dirt. Which, if you've ever tried to nock an arrow that's got a twig stuck in the nock, it's not a good thing.
No.
So I kind of like this angled setup.
I wish they offered a little bit more angle on that bracket, because I use mine to offset and give me a little back weight.
Have you ever thought about the option archery quiver, the one that sticks like straight out like a stabilizer?
I won't run it.
No.
I don't. Yeah, I'm a creature of habit, and having that weight on the side is just something I'm used to. And I honestly think that it would screw me up. At the Purgatory event for MAF, I pulled off my quiver and I tried to shoot, and it was like I never sighted my bow in.
Yeah.
I was left, and it was crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, you get used to it pulling a little bit.
Yeah. So it would be too much for me to change it up, and I like to be able to put the bow together, sight her in, and roll.
Well, I mean, that setup looks like it could kill an elk.
It could. Let's see what the guy behind it does. We will see. It's set up for it. It is definitely set up for it. That sucker's shooting 273 feet a second at those are a little bit lighter than my initial build, so those are at 547 grain at about 14.6% FOC.
Using any outserts or?
Just a half out. What I did is I wanted a little bit higher FOC, so I used the Black Eagle, the Rampage half out, that 55 grain to get a little more up front. The ones that Aerotech offers are like around 21 grain.
Yeah.
So I just wanted a little bit more up front. So I put that Black Eagle stainless in there, and then I don't really like aluminum components. I just don't like I don't believe in the soft metal out front.
Yeah.
Just trying to take away a failure point, but
yeah, I've got the iron will inserts and outserts, the steel ones on the front with 25 grain outserts and 125 grain iron will solids with the bleeders on them.
Yeah, that is it. Single bevel. Or did you go with the SBs?
I've got the double bill.
The double?
But yeah, I got them before the single came out.
Yeah.
I did get them engraved with the good bowl on the back.
Oh, did you?
Thing. Yeah, like
Heck
sweet.
yeah. So when it's sticking in a tree with no blood on it, I'll know who sent it.
Yeah, well, I draw 72 pounds, so it'll probably go so far into the tree that you
won't even know.
Get it out. So yeah, I think I'm safe there.
Heck yeah. Yeah, those, I don't know, man. We'll see. Elk is something else. It's a heck of a pursuit, man.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the season goes.
I'll tell you what, we're going to give it everything we got. That's the one thing about it. Like, I could laugh about it, and sometimes I'll get down on myself, but it's like, did I give what I had to give on the mountain? And as long as I can say yes to that, I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't like tag soup, but it is what it is.
It's so much mental. Honestly, the physical, you can push yourself beyond what you're physically capable of doing.
Right.
If you're mentally tough enough.
Yeah.
And not to the point of hurting yourself, but with the smoke, as bad as it was, that very last hunt that I did, it was literally like raining down ash on me. And I still did 10 miles and did 4,000 vertical feet. Yeah, I was spent because there was no oxygen. We're talking about 9,500 feet elevation.
Yeah.
And I'm doing 10 miles with literal ash coming down out of the air, and I'm breathing this stuff.
Oh, dude, that was horrible, horrible, horrible. We were hunting in it, and it was like we'd stop every few hundred yards just to kind of catch the breath and the freaking soot boogers for like 3 days. I got video. I couldn't even use the video. I was like, look inside my nose. And it was smoke. There was still a little remnant, and you could see all the ash still on us. And it was just, oh man.
Well, no face paint required then.
Yeah, no, I got to have my face paint, man. That's like my game face. Everybody gives me guff about it. I love my face paint, man. It's, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I've always done it.
You have your wife,
If she's there,
taking care of you.
I had her putting it on.
Yeah.
I think did I put it on for you? Yeah, because it can't.
And then like the second day, I was like,
it had to be a certain way.
Yeah. I do it the same way every single time. I know I could. That was exactly it, dude. That was exactly it. Same time. It's been that way forever.
Well, you got to do that way when it's dark out at 3 a.m. You got the pattern.
Oh,
down,
dude,
right?
I'm telling you,
just muscle memory at that point.
It's all it is. It's the funniest thing. I'm weird with it though. I got all these little like habitual things that I do.
like OCD.
Yeah, it's funny. I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. It got me like itching now. It was funny. We were driving and I'm like, how the hell in a month and a half have I drove this much country in the states that I've been in going to the map shoots, and I ain't seen a single damn elk. I'm like, I'm hoping that's not a precursor to my season.
I've told you, come up, visit us. We've got a spare bedroom. Come on up. We will get you into elk.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's plan it.
You need to see a 400-inch bull in velvet.
Yeah.
You need to.
Oh, my God. Let's do it. Map it out. That's my planner. Only thing I do not, or she does not plan is elk season.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Funny how that works.
Yeah. Everything else.
That's willing. He's willing to put in the effort to take care of the elk season schedule.
Yeah. Everything else, she's on it.
And that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Do
you have any final words since you just joined back up?
I'm sorry, I missed most of it.
She's taking care of the dog and. About how he's willing to schedule elk season, but she schedules everything else.
At least I'm not alone in it.
Yeah.
It's like somehow that's permission
Permission for what?
to keep doing it.
Oh, I think it's just, what do you call it? Used to it.
We were saying that we need to get our people to talk to each other to schedule them coming up to visit.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to do that. I think she would love Estes too.
Oh yeah.
Or a place to plant some roots, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, shoot, man. Let's wrap it. I appreciate it. It won't be the last one. How many have we done? We've done
Number
3 or 4, huh?
Yeah, that's
Is it
number 3. Yeah, no, obviously we've talked a little bit more. And
Yeah, we did a couple lives.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute. No, it's been good. It's been fun following you guys and building a friendship, and I've been digging it. So I appreciate you guys.
That's been one of the really cool things about social media is getting to know people and having friendships. And it's like, I mean, we sit down here and we have a conversation with you in person. It's like we've been doing this for years.
We have.
I mean, like, you sit down and here we are in person for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, we're already friends. We didn't have to meet each other in person to be friends and know that we have this mutual passion for hunting and the outdoors.
And photography. I just don't do it.
I had an online dating relationship for a long time before meeting in person.
There you go. Cool. All right, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll be seeing around MAF here.
Thank you for listening. Follow Western Contours on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, and sign up at westerncontours.com. Episodes are available on most major platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. Subscribe, leave us a comment, and don't forget to hit that 5-star rating. We appreciate the support, and until next time, lay 'em down.